Hello there and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to give you guys some updates on some various products and hopefully give you guys a little bit of information. Now the last couple of weeks have been a bit bonkers if I'm honest, especially around DJI. There hasn't really been a lot of updates and things, but there's just a few things I want to talk to you about. The first thing I'm going to start with is the Ronin S. Now, there's not a lot I can actually tell you on this. We're still waiting on firmware updates especially with regards to the issues with the GH5. If you don't know what they are, if you use the GH5 with an external monitor when connected on USB on the Ronin, it can flip out or it can cause the motors to go dead. I know DJI are working on this. They're in a bit of a difficult position because the problem is this: no camera manufacturer makes a standard that allows everyone to control their cameras. Panasonic do one thing with their PC connection, Sony do another, Nikon do another, Canon do another. They're not the same and there's no standard specification between them all. So gimbal manufacturers, including DJI, are left trying to work around those and come up with a system that allows us to have what we want. Because we want to be able to control the gimbals on a button, change focus, adjust focus, and do things like this without big external focus motors and all of that other stuff. However, it's very difficult to do and they are coming up against a couple of roadblocks. I know they are working on it and as soon as they've got it, they will release it. But we are waiting on that. The two things I am going to mention on the Ronin S is, number one, the control knob, because I found out something really cool this week, is that you can change it. And you can change it for the control knob that's used on the Maverick remote controller. So if you grab your knob, it will actually unscrew and you can use the one on the Maverick, on the gimbal, and it gives you a longer reach. Now, I didn't know this myself, and I found it really cool. So if you find that little control knob a little bit short, go and buy yourself the ones for the Maverick RC that screw on with the Maverick 2, and you can swap it over and have a nice longer stalk. Just a little thing, but I thought it was quite cool. The other thing, really, I'm going to mention on the Ronin S is that the Sony control cable is finally turning up at dealers. If you've been waiting for it locally because you didn't want to order it from the DJI site because the postage is quite heavy, this week they are beginning to turn up at dealers and you will be able to get your hands on it. That's really about it for the Ronin S. Not a lot has changed other than that. Next, moving over to the Crystalsky, we have finally had an update for the DJI Pilot app. They've had the release version of Pilot on Android for quite a little bit of time now, and it actually got up to version 1.01. However, this week DJI finally pushed it to the Crystalsky because it's been stuck on the beta 0.60 or 0.65. And the problem with that is it didn't have all the features. It now has the full production release, which includes manual flight like the normal one, as well as having the mission flight. So you can now do POIs, waypoints and all of the stuff we've been waiting for on the Crystalsky with the Pilot. Now, it does support the Maverick 2 Enterprise as well, and that's a good thing, so you can use the Crystalsky with the Maverick 2 Enterprise. Another really interesting thing they did this week is push out a iOS version of the Pilot app as well. Now, this isn't the old version which worked with the Phantom 3 and the Inspire 1. This is a direct iOS version of the Pilot app that we have on Crystalsky, and it's designed to be used again with the Enterprise models, the Maverick 2 Enterprise and the M200. The version that hit the store this week only works with the M2E. It's not supporting the M200 yet. That will be coming in the next couple of weeks. I did hear a little whisper that it would work with the Mavic Zoom, and I'm not surprised at that because they're very similar models compared to the M2E. The base aircraft is basically the same. However, the Pilot app version on iOS, I've been told, is going to be specifically for enterprise models, so it might not work with the Inspires or the Phantom 4s or any of those, including the Mavic. So it's a bit of a bad news if you wanted that. However, here and now, that's what it's going to do. The next thing to mention is they've also pushed out an updated version of GS Pro on iOS, and it's called GS Pro 2.0. Now, I've actually had this on a beta for quite some time, and I've been testing it and using it. And there's a huge amount I could talk about with this, and I'm not going to do it in this video, but if you've been using GS Pro, you've probably had the update come through. If you've used it and stopped using it, I would suggest go checking it out again because it's got a lot of really interesting features in it now. It's also got an interesting one around mapping, and it looks like DJI may be making a small step towards giving us some functionality like you get with Pix 4D, allowing you to actually do the processing on board the device. So it's something that could become a lot more interesting in the future, and it could be worth checking out. Moving on to the Inspire 2, as I've got the remote controller here. I could probably talk about this for 3.5 hours, however I'm not. Just to give you guys an update, as per my other video, it has been affected by the TB55 and the TB50 battery issue. Late last week on Friday, I think it was, the CAA finally updated their notice and they have lifted the congested area restriction. You still can't fly over people and you still have to stay 50 meters away from everything. However, the reality is you can now fly in a congested area with it. It's nice to see the CAA apply a little bit of common sense, because the basics of this is it's affected the M200 in very, very limited numbers with the TB55. I've still not seen a report of it on an Inspire 2, and I don't think there ever has been one. But because the batteries use the same base firmware, DJI have said, look, we want to warn people and be a little bit careful. I think the CIA went a bit too far, if I'm completely honest. It's nice to see some common sense. They've lifted those restrictions. The thing to note is they've added onto this as well about watching your battery voltage, and they have said you need to be on the ground at 3.70 volts. In my opinion, that's a little bit conservative on the Inspire 2. If you land at 3.70 with the aircraft in the air, that'll be about 50% capacity. I think they could have gone a bit further than that, if I'm honest. 3.60 will give you 3.70 on the ground, roughly, with an iX5S. That on a good battery, and that would be roughly 30% battery. That, in my opinion, would be the best place to be. However, the CAA have said 3.70 in the air, so we have to go with it. If you're a commercial operator like myself, with a PFCO, you're going to have to abide by that. We have no choice if we want to use it commercially. However, it is nice to see it been lifted. There will be an update to hopefully mitigate this issue in the very near future. I do know DJI are working as hard as they can on this. There's been a little bit more information this week around it being to do with the battery calculation algorithm. I can't go into much more detail than that. However, they're in a difficult position with this one. I don't think it's entirely their fault, but they're trying to get it resolved as quickly as they possibly can. The thing to remember is every smart battery, from your laptop to your phone, has a battery algorithm in it, and it calculates the battery percentage remaining. It's a difficult thing to do. It's always been difficult. So if people fly by voltages, they really will not have a problem. And remember, your battery is only fully charged, not at 100%, but at least 4.25 volts per cell. If you follow that rule, you really won't have any problems. Finally, moving over to the Maverick series and the Phantoms, there's not really a lot to say on those because there's nothing changed. I'm guessing DJI are working as hard as they can on these other issues, so there's not a lot we can say on the Maverick 2. I can say I monitor all the forums and things like that, and I have to say, there has been next to no issues with this aircraft whatsoever. Whenever you get a new model released, when this first came out, that gimbal thing went absolutely bonkers and everyone was saying it was going to fail, it was a total disaster. The reality is I have not seen another single one since. The camera thing died a death as well, with everybody whinging about the way the sensor works. It's no different to they do on the Phantom 4 in reality. But as I mentioned, I have to say the overall reliability of the Mavic 2 series so far has been simply outstanding. It really, really has. There are next to no reports of real-world issues. Everyone seems very happy with it. So I've got to say DJI did a fantastic job with that aircraft. A nice little treat for people with a Mavic 2 is that if you're after a battery with a heater in it, like you have on the Inspire series, the Mavic 2 Enterprise battery will fit the Mavic 2 series. You're going to have to get them from your Enterprise dealer. Hopefully they might be available elsewhere fairly shortly. But if you're someone who flies in very cold conditions regularly, it will be worth actually buying those Mavic 2 Enterprise batteries for your Mavic 2 Pro or your Zoom, because they have the built-in heater and you won't have to mess about keeping your batteries warm on your way to go, your flight. That's really about it for updates this week. There's not been a lot other than that. I've got a lot of videos I want to try and push out in the next couple of weeks. I've got some stuff I want to talk about from Freewell Gear for the Mavic 2. They've got a great new case, some long exposure filters, including a crazy ND2000, which gives a monster 11 stops. And I'm going to be talking about that in another video shortly. I'm also going to be doing a video on DJI batteries as well. I've been working on this one for quite some time, and I'm hopefully going to have some information for people to learn as much as they possibly can about the DJI Smart Battery. I'll hopefully get that out in the next 24 or so hours. That's it for this video. It was just to give you guys some updates. If you like what you've seen, please do subscribe to the channel. There is a button in the bottom right hand corner, and I can never remember which side that is when I'm recording. It's a total nightmare for me to figure that out. I think it's there. If you like to support the channel, there are some links in the description. I'm going to be heading down to the UK show this week in the London in the Excel, hopefully on Thursday. So I'm going to be walking around the International Drone Show in London. If you're going to be there, the Commercial Expo, please do let me know in the description of this video, in the notes. Put it down there and we might be able to meet up and have a coffee. That's pretty much it. Thank you much for watching, and I'll do another video again soon.